Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Custom Tours Championship here, Season 3 at Jarama. We are here at this very fantastic circuit, a very tight and twisty circuit here in Madrid, Spain. It's going to be a tricky one for the drivers, and as me and Sam were talking earlier on, just before we went live here, it's not an easy track to overtake on. And I was actually talking with one of the drivers ahead of time as well. And I was told this track is essentially hairpins the circuit. So trying to overtake traffic cars will be a bit of a tricky one here. It is once again Patrick Coleman here, aka Ruckus, alongside Sam, aka Crofty. How you doing today, mate?
We're keeping that nickname going. Okay, not sure. I'm a huge fan of being associated with Crofty, but we'll move on. Yeah, no, I think today is going to be, or qualifying is going to be the most important thing. We're currently in the private qualifying session at the moment. We'll see how the grid shapes up. I know we've got Pennington is probably favourite at the moment. He was doing very well in practice. He got himself a big old gap on some of the qualifying runs he was doing, and actually matching people's qualifying times while doing race runs as well. So a track that shouldn't work for the big heavy Jag seems to be working for Pennington. He's got that thing sorted out.
Another thing too is we have to kind of also keep an eye on Chris Hood, Katie Ishma, and the other cars or other drivers running that Nissan in the GT450s, because being the one of, if not the only all-wheel drive car on the grid, that thing could just launch off without any kind of issue. So it's going to be really tricky to go ahead and just see how it all plays out. But I mean, that car, if it qualifies well, it's going to have a fantastic launch. And with this track being so narrow, it's going to be tricky to get past.
Absolutely, and needs to be keeping an eye on the CT300s today as well. Obviously, we had Saavedra and the Renault 5 absolutely disappear off into the distance at Donington. Are we going to see a repeat of that? You might think we would. I know the Renault is a very, very strong car. They do seem to have a gap in performance to the rest of the 300s, but not necessarily somewhere you'd think would suit them. A lot of power zones, accelerating out of corners. They do have a good engine, but I have to see how it shapes up.
Indeed, we will definitely have to try to keep an eye on how things are going to go and play out. It's going to be a tricky race for some of these drivers. You really got to just traffic management is going to be a big key, because last week at Donington Park, we did see quite a bit of contact between some of the CT450s and the CT300s. So hopefully we won't see that again. But I mean, it's multi-class
Ooh, I don't
racing.
know.
It's about par for the course, honestly.
Yeah, we might see some people getting impatient. You never know. And it looks like at the moment we've got Maddie Shepherd on provisional pole. I'm not sure if we've had, because obviously we can't see qualifying session itself. Shepherd with a good lap of 37.2. Not sure if we've seen any of the others, any of the Jags doing their laps yet. But we will be underway shortly. We do promise, and we'll catch the start this time.
Indeed, yeah. So what do you say we take this one to the track?
We are just waiting on the go-ahead for that. I think we're going to get in a set of course, we are going to get a server restart fairly soon, and then we'll let you guys know when we're almost at the start of the race. It looks like Shepherd on pole for the time being, though, unless we've had somebody slot in a lap and then get out of the server nice and quickly.
I mean, Maddie did have some really good pace in that Volvo, especially towards the latter stages of the race at Donington Park. So, but then again, this is a bit of a different circuit compared to Donington Park. I mean, looking at track map, you can definitely see that it's different. But Donington Park in general is a bit wider than Jarama, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers navigate this circuit. It's a historic track. It's been around for quite some time, and honestly, this is my first time really experiencing Jarama, so I think we're in for a mighty fine
Same.
show here.
Absolutely, I'm the same. It's not something that I've really seen any racing at, apart from in sort of MotoGP and sort of the support categories of that, like 20, 30 years ago. I'm not that old, by the way. I am. I'm not 30. I've just seen clips, but no, it's generally known for, I think, the bike racing, and obviously bikes are much narrower than cars, much easier to battle on a track like this, a tight track like this. So we'll have to see how we go. And I think multi-class here, I think we're due for quite a lot of chaos, to be honest.
Indeed, I mean, multi-class at a lot of tracks can be chaos, especially because traffic can make or break your race. But especially around a tight and narrow circuit like we have here at Harama. It's gonna be tough. You're gonna have a really tough time going ahead and just getting a good move done on somebody in your own
Yeah.
class, especially.
We're going to head over to the track now. We've got the race session almost beginning. A little bit of time and then we'll be underway and we'll see who's on pole position.
All right, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump to at least the loadings screen. All right, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and get things ready to go here. We do have quite a few cars in the pit lane right now as we're going to go ahead and get ready here very, very soon. The cars are pretty much lined up on the pit lane. We're going to go ahead and just see how these drivers take to the circuit. It is going to be a tricky one here. It is narrow, it is twisty, but overall, I think we're still going to see some fantastic racing here today.
Absolutely, and it's looking to me like we've got some contenders that weren't necessarily up there for the first race. People like McCain wasn't too near the sharp end at Donington, so he'll have something to prove, especially since his teammate Pennington was right up there for a lot of the race and doing very, very well. McCain languishing a little bit further down in that race. And important to note as well, here in CTC, we do have balance of performance. So Fred Borden, winner of the last race, is on the full 15 kilos extra today. He's been going well in practice, but people like Pennington, who did have probably the quickest car in Donington, have come into this round where, you know, he's got no ballast, he's got no balance of performance because of the incident that he had. So he's starting, well, in the championship a little bit lower down, but he's going to be very much towards the front today.
Indeed, and honestly, we also got to keep in consideration that this shorter track might benefit some of the less powerful CT300s as well, because one of the talking points about that Renault 5 that made it so strong in the hands of Tito was that the car had a bit of a power advantage compared to some of the other cars it would race against. So around the track where you can't really always get around purely just on power, this could be a bit of an equalizer, especially with that BOP going ahead and affecting a lot of these cars that did really good at Donington Park.
Yeah, and we could see the form bug thrown out of the window here, because, you know, if you can get into a rhythm at a track like this, your tires could be going off, you know, you could be on a car that doesn't necessarily suit the track, but as soon as you get into a rhythm, you're going to be set, you know, you're going to be banging out those lap times. It's just a matter of patience, being at one with your car, and having a good setup. And I know there's a lot of setup work been done since the first race.
Indeed, yeah, we're just loading back into the lobby. It did do its little reset, so we should be getting ready for the race here.
Yep.
And we're about to go live here very, very shortly. So about a minute and a half ready to go before we go ahead and get ready to rock here in Jarama. The cars are on the starting line. We're on the starting grid. Unfortunately, our camera's stuck to the back, but it'll be all right. We're going to go ahead and get things rolling here. Just waiting for those lights. It's going to be about another minute before we go ahead and get green here in Jarama. Round number 2 of the championship here. And honestly, Sam, I am so ready for this. This is looking to be a very promising race start here.
Very excited, and a very tight turn 1 as well. You know, this amount of cars going into that tight space. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how everything is going to go ahead and play out. We have 29 drivers on the grid here tonight. So I think this is going to be, it's going to be a fun one in both categories. We're going to definitely just keep an eye, because I think we're going to see some really good battles in the CT450s and in the CT300s, and we might even see a little bit of battling but in between the classes, because we saw a little bit of that last time out, but I think we're going to see it even again here at Jarama, and it's going to be really tricky to navigate this car. But here we go. The start lights are coming on, and we're about to get racing here in Jarama, and it is lights out, and away we go here in Jarama. We're going to make our way down into turn number 1. It is a good start once again for Matty Shepard, but even a better one for Kyle McCain. And there's big contact already. The race winner, Fred Bawden, has been punted into turn 1. He's going to try to rejoin, but there's not. Oh, and he's off again. Fred Bawden is off again into the wall. Pennington not having a great start either. Oh, this is very, very dangerous.
Right at the back. 29th place for Borden behind absolutely everybody. And I'm sorry, it was McCain, not Pennington. McCain appears to be waiting, I think. You know, if you do give the position back after an incident like this, then you will get back, well, avoid a penalty. Sorry, I was just seeing if we were maybe going to get a restart there. I don't believe so. We'll have to wait and see. Yes, we are. Okay, we're getting a restart here.
All right, so we're just gonna pretend that that one didn't happen. Go ahead and cut, reset. We're gonna go ahead and act like film directors here, just resetting the shot here. But hey, you know what? Better yet, we got a better camera though to kind of start things off here. We're not kind of just staring at the back of the Volvo, but we do have. I mean, that is a very good look at the 29 cars taking on today's race. Should be a lot of fun once we go ahead and get started here in about under a minute. So
as long as we get ourselves off the grid, I think we should be okay to have that second start. I'm not quite sure if we have the same rules with CTC as we've had in previous seasons. I'm not sure how many restarts we will have or whether this is it. And as well, I'm going to have to leave the first corner or so to you, I'm afraid, Patrick, just because I don't want to be stuck on the grid in my spectator car.
I'm sure you can just overtake the entire field and just have like an elite level of dominance. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get those start lights rocking and rolling. We see the lights up aboard. 3, 2, and 1. For the second time here in Jarama is lights out and away we go. Seeing a few cars already jockey for position. We're going to hope that this turn 1 is cleaner than the last one. Fred Bawden does get a really good start this time around. Matty Shepard hugging the inside line. Doing a very good job here to go ahead and keep these positions. A few cars going a bit wide, but so far that is pretty much it. We're seeing a few drivers jockey for position. And Tito Saverda is already doing good. He's actually jumped one of the CT450s here. He's jumped, he jumped Rodrigo. They're gonna go ahead and make their way through the hairpin. And all right, well, hey, much cleaner restart this time around than last time, Sam.
Yeah, I think these guys knew that potentially that was going to be it. If they had an incident on this one, that was not going to be a restart for them. So definitely worth being a little bit more careful, I think, this time around. Shepard has got an absolute lead so far, and it looks like Borden's holding up quite a lot of people. We'll have to see if Rodriguez has got the pace or whether it's going to be fighting the likes of Sal and Martin behind.
I think Bawden, despite the extra kilograms of weight being added to his car, I think he's doing a pretty good job holding on to Nissan. Check it back. It is once again the Peugeot brothers of Mayonnaise and Terry Nutt going ahead and just putting pressure onto the sub.
In the Jag, so there's a 450 now behind a few of the 300s. We've got Broust leading the 300s at the moment. And Kyle McCain, it's a very bad start. McCain's way down in 13th place overall. We've got Broust right behind, and yeah, if we take a look at CT450, Cannavaro and Ishima both way down in the Jag and the Nissan respectively. Shouldn't take them too long to get back up to where they belong in the 450s, but that's not what you want at the start of a race, is it?
Oh, not at all, especially because early on in the broadcast, we were just talking about how the Nissan was going to be really good off the line here. And oh, look at this! We had a CT300 off. That is Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is off the circuit. And I believe Patricia Fleck also might have had a moment. No, that's one of the 350s. That's one of the 350s that had a bit of a moment there. So Mayonnaise now down in the last. It says, actually that might be my timing table. Oh, it's Lothar. Lothar was the other driver in that Mercedes that had a bit of a rough time there. He was off as well. Now he's got to get past the 300 of Mayonnaise, but a bit of drama in this race to kind of kick things up. But we did kind of expect it, just considering how narrow this track is.
Absolutely, and it's not going to end there. We are going to get so much more drama, I think, through this race when the 450s all catch up to the back of the 300s to lap them later on. Shepard will want this gap. Shepard will be absolute pedal to the metal right now, trying to get herself away from Borden, away from Rodriguez, so that when that traffic comes along, you've got that buffer. You can take your time. You don't have to dive bomb. You don't have to go up the inside into every single corner to try and keep those positions. Meanwhile, you're going to have Rodriguez, Borden, Salami, Pennington, Judge, Ertl. They're all going to be doing their absolute hardest because they want to make up those positions. They're going to make some risks on the 300s when they catch up to them.
Indeed, as Marcus Pennington does go ahead and get the fastest lap of the race so far in that Jaguar. Doing a very good job now. She's trying to put pressure onto Ishmael Rodriguez in that Nissan just up ahead, who himself is trying to go ahead and put a move on the Fred Bawden here. And it is looking pretty tight here in the 450s, but it's also looking very tight here in the 300s as Evelyn Cook is now kind of sandwiched in between the Saab and RX-7. Evelyn Cook trying to make the move in the Rover. Yeah, you can say that. And there's a 350 off. But there's that's a 450. That's
Yeah, it's Jordy in the Nissan. Behind a lot of the 300s now. Not good. And that's Miles Prower, I think, as well. In the 300. Not sure what happened there. He's lost a lot of positions. There seems to be a Peugeot of Terry waiting for him. So I think Prower and Nutt have come together, unfortunately.
It looks like something's up with that suspension too on that car. So bit of a there was definitely contact because I could see damage on this 300 here of Miles Prower, but yeah, we knew this was going to happen. We knew that this track was going to be tight. We're going to see some collisions as we see. Oh yeah, the hood is all messed up on this Ford, so that is a very, very rough start to his race here. But a driver who's not having a rough start is our two race leaders of Tito Saverda and Maddie Shepard. I mean, they're both having a very strong race.
Sorry though, Pennington trying to go around the outside of Rodriguez as they go through the tight right-hander there towards the end of the lap. We've got a couple of tight hairpins coming up again now. We'll have to see if that four-wheel drive can get the Nissan away, or whether it's the agility. I'm not sure agility is the right word, but it seems to be what Pennington's getting out of that Jag at the moment. Managed to get it turned in and stamp on the power and get it in a good shape out of the corners.
He's doing pretty solid. I mean, considering that there's a lot of factors that would make you think that the R32 is kind of the favorited car, but we also have to consider that the car in front of the Nissan is an older spec chassis. It's a Mark III ahead, and I mean, it's arguably one of the oldest cars in the 450s, so you know that it's not going to have the same kind of technological advancements. Now, these odds is a bit of a wide snap there. Does kind of open the door for Marcus Pennington. He's going to think about it, but once again, just a bit too much real estate in between the Jaguar and the Nissan for a move to really be made here.
300s here, we've got Toscanini and Evelyn Cook going side by side. They've been doing it for about 3 corners so far. Toscanini really not giving that one up. And here comes one of the 450s trying to make up places at the moment. Who I think went off earlier. Yeah, Ishima just trying to navigate through these 300s to try and get back to where he belongs.
Oh, contact! There's big contact! Massive contact here! And Toscanini, Ishima, and this, I think there's another car that was involved as well. I think there was another Jaguar, or that might have been
Cannavaro. I think was involved a little bit there. Prower trying to make up the position here on Toscanini. That was Prower also went off earlier with that crash in the middle sector. But yeah, these guys are all having a lot of problems, and it's messy. It's very messy. You know, we've got 2 Nissans back here at the back of the pack among the 300s, which really don't deserve to be here. And that's exactly what happened. You know, the Nissan's a heavier car. It's quicker on the straights. It's got a better engine. But that RX-7 is very, very light and broke later and went straight into the back of the Nissan there in the middle sector.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's an interesting mismatch here because normally we wouldn't see traffic for quite a while. Traffic is normally a bit of a later stage thing. We wouldn't expect it on about lap 5 out of 55 or 25 here. 55, I couldn't even imagine the amount of carnage, but yeah, I mean, like you said, Tuscanini is in the lighter car with a weaker engine compared to the Nissan in front. Different classes between the two as well. So, I mean, at that point, I mean, it really just kind of mixes things up. Traffic was going to mix things up anyway, but especially at this early of a stage, because if you remember from last week, there's a good amount of the 300s that kind of had a bit of a split just going through towards the later stages of the race when traffic started getting involved, as Evelyn Cook is now essentially bump drafting the car just up the road of Tyler Long, trying to make the position. And actually, Evelyn did make the position, got a move done onto the South or the Saab, and now trying to go onto the fellow Rover just up ahead.
Yeah, do we think Cook's going to be a little bit more careful with the teammate? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Jarama coming into the pits, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, we'll see what this pit stop is. Oh,
and overshot the box.
By a long shot, it looks like.
We've also, I noticed we had Ishima, not to call Ishima out or anything. Oh, just gone off track as well. This is not a good race for Ishima so far. But I did notice Ishima was flashing Prower. Now that is something that you can do if you come across traffic and you want to lap them. You can flash them, flash the lights just to let them know that you're there and that you're faster. However, Ishima is racing for position at the moment. So that's not something that will be looked upon very nicely by the stewards.
There's also a specific bump that was mentioned in the driver's briefing earlier that was said to cause a lot of issues. So that may also play a factor in this, and it might already have. To be honest, it was mentioned in the driver's briefing early on that there is one corner in particular, just before a series of S's. I forget what the
judge here for 5th place.
Yep, here we go. We'll come back to the track talk in a minute because we have a very strong battle. It is Jaguar. It is Toyota going wheel to wheel. A bit of a snap there for the V12 powered Jaguar. He's going to go ahead and try to hook it around the outside, but once again, that Toyota, even though it's an older chassis, it is still doing pretty good to hold up this Jaguar. It is a bit of a lighter car though with a lighter engine. The Jaguar possibly having one of the strongest engines in this field, considering it's got a massive V12. Although it's also noted that it's probably got the heaviest engine in this field too. So, I mean, we've seen these drivers do really good in the Jaguar. As we go ahead and see, they're going through the S's. A lot of curb there being used by Martin Judge. He's still going to try and hook it around the outside. But Marcus Pennington is going to go ahead and get that position back in the P5. But Peter Ertl is pretty much just right back there too, just waiting for something out. He started in 15th and he's up 8 places now.
Yeah, that Mercedes as well, we've heard from Donington, is not the most user-friendly car in the world. It does like to, under braking, it does like to sort of pivot, and the rear really likes to come around. I wonder if that's something that they've sorted for this weekend, but Ertl looking strong. You know, I think if you'd told him that he was going to be within a second of Pennington this week, he definitely would have taken that. So let's see if he can capitalise, or whether this is his, this might be his peak. We'll have to wait and see.
Indeed. Ishmael Rodriguez still trying to put pressure on the Fred Bawden here. In that, oh, it looks like he might have just locked the brakes up a bit going into turn 1 here. That Nissan is looking a little bit sketchy at the moment, at least from our view. But, I mean, granted, the commentator's view versus the view in the commentary box they're always going to be two completely separate things here. As he's trying to make something happen against Fred Bawden. They get close. And it looks like he does shake for moves occasionally, but he's going to go in and just back off. A little bit of bump drafting even happening between the two as they continue on.
Another spin there for Cannavaro, right at the back of the 450 group, and now behind Tyler Long. Absolutely a race to forget for Cannavaro. I think at this point, just try and keep it on the island and make up places later on. A lot of damage on that car as well, so maybe just try and nurse it to the pit stop, but not to focus on the misfortune too much. Let's obviously let's see what else is happening in the 300s.
Leonard Bork is going ahead and trying to put pressure onto Matteo Vitelloni as he's going to go and try to close that gap. He does have Evelyn just right behind in that Rover, trying to make up positions as well. Although Evelyn's already made up quite a few positions here. Evelyn It says up 16 positions for Evelyn here. Started 32nd, which I don't think we even had 32 cars on the grid here, did we? No, we had 29. So,
29, yeah.
I guess somehow.
Oh, we have a disconnection. I think that. Oh, just a little bit of lag. She's back. That could have been a lot worse. Thankfully, nature of sim racing there. You can have disconnections, but she's back and still in the race.
Yeah, I actually thought that might have been on our end, on the broadcast end. So I'm glad it wasn't on the broadcast end, because that would have been very unfortunate. Because this battle looks like it is going to get pretty spicy here in the CT 300s here. So, I mean, Evelyn is 5th in class right now. So, Evelyn started from the back of this class and has made her way up several positions. So, right now, pretty much staring right at the back. This is essentially a 3-way battle for 3rd at the moment.
Oh,
as we
Phillips round. The 450 spun around, still holding on to 11th. Hasn't lost a 450 position, but has actually lost an overall position to Saavedra. So we've got the Renault leading CT300 has just taken himself into, I believe, 11th overall.
Indeed, yeah, that is correct. Into 11th overall in that Renault. And I mean, there's a lot of talk about the Renault being the strongest car in the CT300s. And it looks like there is a lot of truth.
Wild. They're dropping like flies in 450 at the moment. And Chris Hood. We've had Chris Hood, Jules Wild, both just having moments there. If this keeps happening, we could see Saavedra in the top 10.
Which would be massive for the CT300s. It could be massive here because, I mean, it's about only 4 seconds between them at the moment. So, I mean, if there is another mistake from this Porsche, then it could really, like you said, I think it's actually pretty likely, if there's another mistake made, that we will see Tito in the top 10 overall, which would be, once again, a massive result for the CT300s.
Yeah, I've raced against Saavedra before in different series, and sometimes he just puts in a lap where you just think, I can't beat that. You know, he's a very, very talented driver and demonstrating it at the moment.
Another driver demonstrating some very strong prowess here is Marcus Pennington, trying to get a move done on the Salami here. He was trying to hook it around the outside of the BMW, just didn't have enough real estate to get the move done and dusted. We'll see now. He is pretty close to the back, about 0.3 of a second back, and there's contact between the two. And that's going to cause a... Maybe they got away with it, but it did look like that Bottom was going to go ahead and just jump him there.
Very nearly. I think he's biding his time now. It's the twisty middle sector of the track. We'll see what Warden can do. This is where that ballast, yeah, look, he's not able to hold as tight a line as the Jag there. Definitely kicking in a little bit. We have got a big battle happening now between Bjork, Vitelloni and Cook here. And the 300 and Vitelloni's round. That's a spin into the barrier at about 2 miles an hour. Don't reverse onto the racing line there, Matteo. He's all right. But has lost the position to Bjork, Cook, and Mayonnaise as well.
Yeah, and lost one overall to Leichenberg in the 450 Mercedes just up ahead. So he lost a position there in overalls as well.
Pennington,
and look at this!
Coming through.
We caught that just in the nick of time. And we'll see if Salami's defense is going to hold that Jaguar. That Jaguar does have some really strong pace. And it's going to go down between Bawden and Pennington here. Trying to go ahead and fire it on the outside.
That's to back off.
Oh,
and a little bit of lag here. That's thankfully gone okay. I did see Sal having a little bit of lag. Yeah, you can see some of it now in the race. There was some happening in practice as well. So let's hope this doesn't end in tears as they battle each other through the middle sector.
Yeah, because this could be, I mean, we were talking about traffic making or breaking your race. You can make that same argument tenfold for connectivity, and that might be a cause of it there. A big spin from Salami. He got tapped by Bawden, and I think that was actually a disconnect because he immediately left right after that. So we do have one driver in the CT450s out of this race, and now that opens the door wide open. As we see, actually, Ishmael Rodriguez going side by side with Martin Judge They're separated by less than a tenth of a second now, but that Nissan's got to go wide. So once again, that Toyota without the ballast is pretty strong around this track. So
absolutely, and we've got a Peugeot getting out of the way there. Christian Fleck, thankfully being nice and considerate there. Not sure you're obliged to go onto the gravel to get away from the 450s, but look at that. That's traffic happening now. Are we going to see Rodriguez? Very good brakes on that R32, but not quite close enough to make a move. Getting right up behind the Toyota, though.
Using very high revs here in that Nissan as well. So he's trying. You can see him just nursing the throttle through these corners. Very smooth, very gentle on the brakes. This car does have best in class brakes. This is a bit of a snap there from Martin Judge. So now we're going to see a dive up the inside. Is it going to work? He's going to have better traction. Ishmael is going to have better traction, but once again, the inside becomes the outside. And somehow, through some miracle, Martin Judge holds on to the position for now. But for how long is going to be the question. And these two cars are going side by side through the twisty parts of this track, through Sector 2. And, oh, he's going to try to hook it.
As well. That's not going to happen through there. Although, if you can just show your nose and put the other car offline, you know, it could give you the run maybe down into here. So it is definitely a tactic to just maybe not actually get ahead on the corner, but just disturb the guy ahead enough so that you can get your nose alongside for the next one. You know, a lot of this track is setting up the move. And Ismail's definitely trying that at the moment. There goes the dive bomb.
Ooh.
Just on the inside of it, door banging. Very well calculated move there. That was a risk. Still side by side, but I think overall, yeah, that GTR's got the grip. But the Toyota right
still
up
gonna
behind
try
as
it.
onto the straight, squeeze towards the wall.
This is the beauty of touring car racing. You can just see cars that are not too dissimilar to the cars that you could just straight buy. I mean, although granted, in the current economy, good luck getting an R32 for any decent price, but still.
I wish.
But, I mean, these cars aren't too far removed from their road car counterparts, so essentially you could see road cars putting in these kind of battles. Definitely not to the extent. But I mean, hey,
they're just cutting the traffic in a sector where, and they are choosing to get out of the way there, which is interesting, which actually has just given the position to Toscanini. They're not obliged to get out of the way as well. Makes a mistake. This is going to keep happening here. You can't let your eye line get drawn away by these slower cars.
Indeed you cannot, because that could just spell doom for your attempt.
Sorry, we've got pit stops happening now. We're about the halfway mark. We've got Braust, Onays and Bjork all in the pit. It's going to be interesting to see, and Prower as well. It's going to be interesting to see if Evelyn Cook comes out ahead. I think Cook has maybe pit the lap before. We're going to see if she comes out because she was battling Bjork, and they're going to be side by side as they head down into turn one. Cook just filtered in behind, not going for the move right away. But will those warm tyres help her out as we head down into turn two?
We'll see. Evelyn is shaking for the move. She's trying to put that Rover up a spot here. As we see, this is a tight battle between the Saab and the Rover. This could be trouble in the making, but right now it is leading to some very good racing here as we see these two cars just battle it out all over the circuit.
Yeah, we've got Borden in the pits now. Let's see where he comes out. He's going to get a little bit of clear air. Yes, he is. He's out behind Pennington, so he's lost out.
Indeed, yeah, so he did lose out a little bit as we bring up a little bit of a side-by-side camera just to kind of see two different perspectives as we go ahead and just make our way through the circuit. A fair bit of a gap, about 2.5 seconds between these cars here as we are on lap 14 out of 25. And here we go. This battle is back again. They're back for round who knows what at this point because they're still... Actually, I would say it's round one because I don't feel like this battle ever truly ended.
No, it's they've just been slugging it out. We're on about round 10 of the boxing match here between Judge and Rodriguez. Rodriguez obviously made the mistake, went off, and is now caught right back up to the end of to the back of Judge. Judge doesn't seem to be in a very nice rhythm at the moment. I think those mediums could be going off. Although I do want to just give a shout out to Maddie Shepherd, who obviously has been leading this whole time. Big shout out to her because she started on a hard tyre. So she's going to be going a lot longer. Yes, she's got traffic coming up. We've got Geordie getting out of the way there. We've got some 450 traffic that unfortunately she needs to navigate. A lot of traffic here. She's got Evelyn Cook, Lennon Bjork ahead, and then Lichtenberg in the 450. Lichtenberg getting out of the way onto the gravel there. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but Shepherd, I think, is absolutely content to only do the safe moves here. She's on the hards. She's going to be going way, probably to about lap 18, 19, 20 here. So she is in cruise control. All she needs to do is not have an accident with these 300s.
I've been noticing that a lot of these Peugeots are opting for the gravel when they go ahead and move out of the way for the 450s. I mean, they yearn for the rally, I guess, but...
I was going to make a French surrender joke, but I'm not sure that's the right thing to be going for there, although I've made it now.
Probably not the most offensive thing you could say on YouTube during a broadcast, but nevertheless, you can honestly make jokes either way, but I mean, anyways, back to the action on circuit before we get too carried away. Mayonnaise is actually closing the gap here to the car just a bit, and, well, I'm not sure if they'll be able to make the overtake, but catching up to Lothar in the 450 Mercedes just up ahead. This car is actually pretty quick on the circuit when it's not being a rally car to let the 450s through. But we saw that at Donington Park as well without the rally shenanigans. So we know that this Peugeot has got a ton of potential. But right now, you really just cannot touch that Renault of Tito.
Absolutely not, and yeah, Geordie's having a bad race today. This, whenever you're a 450 mixed up with the 300s, you know you're not having a good time out there. And I think some of these guys in the 450s are going to be taking a big long look at themselves to see if they can improve next time out. Somebody who is doing a lot better this time, and props to him, is Jules Wild up there in P8. Has had, I've been keeping a little bit of an eye on him today. He's been having a few small incidents, nothing like what we saw in Donington. Has mostly kept it on the island, driving pretty solid race there to P8. Did a 141.3 last lap, and he's doing very solid there. No one around him though.
I mean, honestly, that's probably some of the most stress-free driving you could have is when you have nobody around you. Yeah, I see those little mistakes that you're talking about as he dips a wheel into the gravel as he's on his way into the pit box now. Hopefully he doesn't overshoot it like we have seen earlier on today, actually, but he's just going to go ahead and pull in right into the pits, and he didn't overshoot at all, so that is a very good pit entry from Jules Wild here. As we see Geordie going at him, just making his way past. Geordie is going to go ahead and jump up into P16 overall. And as we take a look at the CT450 class, P12 in class, so it's not, I mean, it's not whoa, an overtake from Mayonnaise as Geordie just comes into the pits.
Very close to the tyre wall on the way in there as well, but yeah, this is just going to be one of those ones where he hopes he gets into clear air and just clears off at his own pace. I wonder if he's overshot his box here. It looks like he's maybe struggling to find it. There he is, into the pits. We've got Chris Hood in as well, so quite a lot of Nissans not having a very good day today.
I would argue that the only one that is having any semblance of a good day is Rodriguez in P4 at the moment. I think he's really the only Nissan you could say that is actually having a good day around this track. He had some really good battles, and he was fighting for the podium for quite a while, but just wasn't meant to be, I suppose. But I mean, still doing a lot better than pretty much every other Nissan on circuit at the moment.
Yeah, and we've got, I believe Shepherd now has also made her pit stop, maintained that 7 second or so gap to Pennington, who's very comfortable there in second place. Borden 3.7 seconds behind now. So that move, obviously Pennington wasn't straight away in P2 today, but definitely been demonstrating the pace to challenge for the win. Although with Shepherd on fresher tyres, I'm not sure he's going to bridge that 7 second gap, but who knows with traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to make the bold commentator prediction that I think we're going to see this Jaguar on the top step of the podium at some point this season. I mean, It's the only car right now that has a lap time in the 136s. As we look at the lap times, I mean, if we look in class at the moment, he's got the best lap time in class by about a second actually. So a little under a second, because Rodriguez is the only car who has had a best lap time within a second of Pennington. So Pennington, on that one lap pace, has been pretty solid, but just in the opening stages, Matty has just been super strong in that Volvo, and we saw it last week too at Donington Park.
Yeah.
That Volvo, we knew that Volvo was going to be a threat, even though it doesn't really look like much of one. But I mean, honestly, it's going to be interesting to see how these cars handle Dragon Trail next week.
Yeah, and I think the Volvo, it's difficult to judge, isn't it? Because, you know, sometimes... Oh, we've got Pennington coming in. Oh, sorry, that's McCain. Apologies.
I was about to say, hang on a minute.
A false alarm there. I was running on board with the wrong jag. Yeah, no, McCain coming in.
That's very fast through the pit lane.
Yeah, no pit lane speed limits here in CTC. No lives at stake, so I guess we're we're okay going in at very quick speeds. But yeah, no, I think the Jaguar...
Sorry,
it's quite a quick car, but the Volvo more drivable.
Speaking of cars that were kind of struggling to go in the right direction, Tadeusz Wojciechowski had a fishtail of it in the FSO car, so he had a bit of a fishtail moment. He saved it, but he definitely lost time to his teammate just off the road. But it could have been worse for the 300, but he saved it. Piotr Stefanik is definitely going to just start running away with us now, as Jordy is now caught up to the RX-7 of Tuscanini here. We'll see if Jordy can go to get through.
Not want to be today is, I mean, I wouldn't want to be Jordy today because of the result, but I also wouldn't want to be Toscanini because he's having to battle with cars that are outside of his class. So, I mean, look at this. He's making a move into the right-hander here, but as soon as we get onto the straight, there goes the Nissan again, you know, and it's upsetting his rhythm as well. You know, if he wants to make progress towards the other 300, you know, he's got Terry Nutt at the end of the straight, around 15 seconds, or 13 seconds now ahead of him. Yes, not battling away with Tyler Long at the moment, but you just don't want to have your rhythm, you know, interrupted by these 450s who really should be further up the road.
Indeed, as we have a battle here going on between the aforementioned Tyler Long and Terry Nutt, as they are going ahead and battling it out for position. This would be for P9 and P10 in class, so this is going to be a tough fight for these drivers. We'll see how fast Tyler Long is going to be here, and if he can actually hold off the Peugeot, that very quick and nimble Peugeot. The Peugeot goes on fired up the inside. Is there going to be enough real estate to get the move done? He can hang it there, but it just wasn't quite enough to get the move done onto the Rover. The Rover is looking pretty solid here in this race, because we saw Evelyn also making up quite a few positions, and Evelyn is actually not too far off of the in-class podium here at P4.
Definitely, yeah, and we've got Bjork really not too far ahead. Obviously, these two have been battling all race long. Bjork has pulled a little bit of a gap, but now the pit stops have evened themselves out. Obviously, we had Mayonnaise making a mistake. You know, after everything has sorted itself out after the stops, Cook will be very happy with where she is at the moment.
Indeed, and I mean, even then, I mean, Elaine and Tito really have nothing to worry about. Tito is about 4.5 seconds ahead of Broust,
yeah,
and Broust is almost about 15 seconds ahead of Bork, so could be a bit tricky.
Definitely, I think, seeing a pecking order form, and I have been speaking with some of the drivers before today's race, and they do think that there is quite a gap between the Renault and the VW. You know, fairly close together, I think, with the Renault.
Rodrigo Cannavaro having a big snap at the same area we saw Wojciechowski making the exact same error, except in a 300. So big snap of oversteer there for the Jaguar, as it's another 450 with the day to forget. But anyways, back to you, Sam.
Yeah, no, it's again, it's just bringing that back to Cannavaro's moment. Again, miles per hour, they're in, I think, P18 or P19 overall. Again, battling with 450s. You know, he should be battling with 300s here. Cannavaro really should be further up the road. I know I'm banging on about it all the time, but it upsets your rhythm. And as a 300, you know, you want to be getting every point that you can, but when there's 450s all around you who are also a lap down, it can be pretty frustrating. So I can only imagine how Power's feeling at the moment.
Yeah, and he's got Rodriguez just behind. And oh, the Jaguar's off again! Cannavaro's off again. Well, I mean, I'm sure Miles will be happy to have that car out of his way. It'll be an overall position. But you can just see that Nissan of Rodriguez just kind of bouncing through the final corner as he just goes ahead and gets past 300. I mean, that's for the 350, that's what you don't mind. You don't mind a car that is faster than you actually getting past you, a car that's already lapped you, and you're just letting him on through.
Behind him again.
Yep.
Well, Cannavaro right up behind after that big long straight. I think I did just see Prower having a little bit of a wiggle on the straight there. I think maybe wiggling the wheel in frustration that he's going to have to once again let this Jag go. Well, not let him go because he's battling. Oh, and Rodriguez is off.
Oh.
That's not what you want. And he's lost the position to Judge, who's been battling. The boxing match continues. We've got to have Rodriguez probably catching up to Judge again, battling for P4. How many times has he had to make this move today?
At this time, I mean, there's always a lot of like strong matchups when it comes to sports. You know, you have Real Madrid and what is it, Manchester City? I will admit I am an American that doesn't know much about football.
Sure, if we're talking Champions League, yeah, let's go with that.
I mean, that's always El Clasico. In American football, we have the Eagles and the Chiefs, also could be considered El Clasico. Here, our version of El Clasico is going to be Martin Judge and Ishmael Rodriguez. It is going to be Toyota and Nissan. I mean, these brands have fought numerous times across various different racing series, and now they're battling here at the CTC, battling for position in the midst of lapped traffic.
Look at this, we've got Judge trying to lap Cannavaro, and Cannavaro does have to get out of the way here because this is the same class. These are two 450s. He does have to get out of the way of Judge here, and he has to get out of the way of Rodriguez as well. I don't know how difficult he's going to make it, but we had a 3-wide moment there, and Prower was in the middle of it in his little 300.
Yeah, we saw that. Oh, a bit of a brake lock up, and there's contact! Well, that's one way to get that lapped car out of, but that's surely going to make Cannavaro's day just that much worse.
Yes, Cannavaro should have been getting out of the way there, but the stewards are not going to be happy at that mistake by Rodriguez. We'll have to see what happens there, if that gets reported or not. It could be that Cannavaro decides not to report that one, but we'll have to wait and see.
Oh!
We've got Judge very sideways. The tyres, I think, are on the ropes. I think is the way we're going to describe this one here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult to keep either car on the road, honestly, because it feels like both of these cars are struggling on these tires, and I mean, we're about 3.5 laps out of just ending this race here, and they get so close. This is probably actually going to have the same physicality as an actual boxing match here soon.
Does seem like it. And speaking of things getting a little bit physical, we have just had Marcus Pennington squeezing Evelyn Cook off the road while lapping her. Pennington, I think, I've seen the gap jump up from Shepard from around 7 seconds to over 9. So I think Pennington was really getting held up by the Rover there. The Rover in 300 has no obligation to get out of the way. If you're Pennington, you have to try and make that move work yourself. And I think just squeezing Cook on the exit there was just a sign of frustration. We'll have to see what Cook says about that after the race.
I feel like the stewards are going to definitely have their hands full after tonight's race. It's been a bit of a busy one. As we're down to 3 laps to go here. Just going to go ahead and just take a look at our in-class leaders. So Maddie Shepard is in the overall lead and the lead of the CT450s. She has about a 8-second gap, almost a 9-second gap to Marcus Pennington just behind the Volvo driver, proving that this car, even though it has the same aerodynamics as a brick, this brick is fast. As we were seeing here, I mean, Maddie's just pretty much been dominating this entire race here in Volvo. And then from one end of the domination spectrum to the other, we have Tito, who has just been in the lead from lights out to this stage of the race.
Yeah, and as I was getting on earlier, I think the Renault and the VW both have quite a bit of pace over the rest of the 300 grid. We'll have to see if the rest of the teams can claw any of that advantage back, or whether the ballast will make a difference in the next round. Obviously, I think the VW didn't quite have the best performance in Donington, but definitely where it belongs today.
Indeed, yeah. And I mean, just looking ahead to next week, I don't know what your experience is with Dragon Trail in Croatia, but that track is, I mean, there's two layouts. You have the Gardens and Seaside layout. Gardens is a very tricky one because you have this massive, very sharp section where it's like Suzuka, but like almost like constant 90-degree corners.
Borden's round. He's just been tagged by one of the, I think Jules Wild, or it might have been Jacob Phillips. Just tagged him round. Borden's still going. I think it was Jules Wild because he's waited for him. Not that matters because I think he's a lap down, but Borden still keeping the position, I think. I don't think he's lost anything. He was completely 180 degrees facing the wrong way there, but Judge so far behind that he's not going to get his teammate here. He's still battling Rodriguez away here for fourth. So as much as that was a very dramatic moment, I don't think that's going to change the result much unless we see any penalties.
Yeah, indeed. It's unfortunate to say the least. We did have another disconnect, so there is another retiree. We have lost Chris Hood. That was one of the 450 drivers, so another retiree there. But yeah, I mean, this has been a very solid race. I mean, we've seen a lot of battles in both classes too. I mean,
yeah.
We've even, like we kind of talked about earlier, we have cars kind of like in inter-classes just really battling it out on circuit here, even though a lot of the 300s wish they were battling 450s for overall positions. But I mean, that's been the case here today at Jarama.
Yeah, and we've got Prower in the middle of absolutely all of it here. I think as Shepard starts the last lap, Shepard is off the track.
Oh.
That is not what you want to see. Unless you're Marcus Pennington, maybe. Shepard maybe with a little lapse in concentration, a bit of complacency there.
The gap has started falling away.
Yeah, a lot of little moments here that you think might lead to something if the gaps were maybe a little bit closer. But Shepard, like I said earlier in the race, I mean, Shepard built up a 7-second gap before we even got to the first pit stops. You know, it's only a few laps in, so she can afford to make those mistakes now. She's done the legwork earlier in the race, and she can afford to make those mistakes. It's 6.4 seconds, which is about what the gap was when Shepard came out of the pits.
Indeed, and I mean, there's a bit of an age-old saying here. If you haven't had a lot of screen time in the race and the commentators haven't really said a whole lot, then either your race is going really right or really wrong. And in this case, for Maddie Shepard, it has gone very right here, as Maddie Shepard only has 2 more corners left to navigate. The only car ahead is a laps car, and it is actually the CT300 of LA. Oh, this is going to be dicey. This is going to be tricky battle, but we'll have to cut away for a moment just as this battle closes up, because coming across the line now, after a dominant race here in Jarama, Maddie Shepard wins round 2 of the Custom Tour Championship. And now we get back to this battle that has been so close to the end. Marcus Pennington will finish in 2nd. Fred Bawden will finish in 3rd. Who's going to finish in 4th? That's going to be a tricky one. They got a few more corners left to navigate here, and they're going to fight it out, but we do see Ishmael Rodriguez all over the curbs. Fred Bawden is in 3rd. Coming across the line now, it is going to be Martin Judge, who takes that P4 position after a very strong battle with Ishmael Rodriguez. And then, we have to also just mention the domination here of Tito Saverda here, or Sabja here. It has been...
Renault has been very, very strong all season. I would be surprised if we see anybody other than a Renault, maybe the VW taking a win here, but Saavedra could be on course for a very, very dominant season.
Indeed. I mean, there's still a lot of room for these teams to potentially catch up and just try to just going to do damage limitation each race, but I mean, Tito's in the top 10 overall. I know our timing table is a bit wonky at the moment, as cars are still coming across the line. I can promise you Tito is definitely not in 25th. He's going to come across the line now, and he will win in the CT300s, and he is in 7th overall.
Saavedra as well, I just think we need to talk about how quick he has been all season so far. He's out-qualified in this race as well. He qualified in 11th place. He out-qualified Lothar Leitenberg and Jacob Phillips, and Marcus Pennington started near the back, but he out-qualified all three of those in the 300. I cannot sing this man's praises enough.
I mean, it is well deserved. I know some people are gonna say, oh, Sam is glazing Tito. Well, in this case, it is very well deserved. I mean, out qualifying cars ahead of your class and then finishing in the top 10 overall in the 300 is just really dang impressive. And I mean, I know we were talking a lot about Tito, but we got to give Elaine some credit too, because Elaine also finished in the top 10, I believe, overall. Once our timing table goes ahead and cycles on through.
Yeah, we'll have to see exactly where everybody ended up in the 300s, because we do have a in Assetto Corsa, it does when the race ends and people sort of go back to pits. So we'll just have to run through the final order, which we will be able to do for you guys. We'll be able to run through exactly what the final order was. And it does look like Shepard took the win. Let's take a look. Seeing if we're top 10 overall or not. I think either way,
I have it on
you
my
get
end.
The points for your class. So.
All right, so
through the order, then.
Here we go. Taking a look at our overall order, Matty Shepard does win the race here in the Volvo 240, followed by Marcus and Fred Baldwin, and then it is Martin ahead of Ishmael, Peter, Kyle. Tito finished in P8 overall. That is his official standing, and Elaine in P9. So that is two CT300s in the top 10. And then it is Kadej Ishmael, followed by Leonard, Jacob, Evelyn Cook, Jules Wild, Mayonnaise, Matteo, Lothar, Miles, David, and Terry Nutt. And then we have Rodrigo, Aurelio, Jordy, Tyler, Piotr, Tadus, Patricia, Chris Hood, Salami, and Mario going ahead and rounding out our grid here. We do have a few other drivers who I don't believe actually started this race, so yeah, I believe that is pretty much going to be the end of the race here.
I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast as well. Obviously, it's something that we hope to keep bringing you entertaining racing for the remainder of the season, and I think that's something that's guaranteed. Today, my highlight has to have been the Rodriguez battle with the Toyota. I think that was something that, yes, he kept making a few mistakes and having to make the overtake again and again and again, but that was a damn good boxing match, if I do say so.
I'd agree, honestly, and I mean, honestly, I would just love at some point to just kind of hear about it from the drivers and just hear from their perspective how it's going to go ahead or how it was for them, because I mean, it was a fantastic battle for us here in the commentary booth and also for all the people watching on YouTube. So, I mean, but I'm sure even just being in that battle, albeit stressful, was probably a lot of fun, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I'm going to make sure to keep my ear to the ground as we head into the next round, see what other drivers are saying, how confident they are about the next race, if there's any sort of gremlins or anything they need to get over from the previous race as well. So if anything has happened here today that leads on into the next race, rest assured I will try and prize that information out of the drivers as much as I can.
Indeed. So from Madrid, Spain, we are heading over to Croatia for the next round at Dragon Trail. Now, Dragon Trail may be an unfamiliar track to some, but let me tell you, I've experienced it quite a lot, and it's a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see which layout we go ahead and go to. There's two different layouts. They're both very different, but I think either way, whether we go to the seaside or the gardens, Croatia, Dragon Trail, the Custom Tours Championship is going to be there to bring you all the excitement here next week on Sunday. On behalf of Sam, my name is Patrick, and we've taken you from start to finish here, and we will do that again next week.